This episode of Set of the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Set of the Score. My name is Harry Durham. Chelsea, you had one job to do. Either get a point or pick up 3 points, because I think Arsenal are going to win the Premier League title. Let's look back on all of the action from the Emirates with Marty from AFTV and Dave from the Chelsea Fancast. Marty, kicking off with you, another huge scalp in the race for the Premier League title. The record against Chelsea is just getting silly now.
Mate, these Mondays keep getting better. Last week it was Tottenham. They got absolutely battered. And then this week, listen, a great result against Chelsea. We ground out what could be a very, very important 3 points in the title race. Games like that at home, Super Sunday, Man City went first. They reduced the deficit to 2 points. Obviously, there's that game in hand still. The pressure was on Arsenal, and in previous seasons, I've seen us falter. But we got the job done. We were that good, actually, that we had to score Chelsea's goal for them as well. We were kind. We gave them a little gift, and we thought, yeah, go, you can have one. And that was from us to them to try and help them out. But at the end, we just sealed it and got it done. I think they were very naive to pick up that second booking, the red card for Neto. It was a masterstroke for me for Arteta to bring on Martinelli, stretch him. He knew he was on a booking. He knew he was tired. And he knew that the discipline with this Chelsea team is not what it should be. Realistically, 7 red cards, I believe, in the Premier League and 10 in all competitions, which is a very, very disappointing statistic for them. And then they go down to 10 men, it's 2-1, and it is going to be an uphill battle against this Arsenal team at the Emirates. It is, is a fortress in recent times. And a place where we play some solid football and get some results ground out. We've only been beaten there once this season. Great to get the 3 points on the board. We've got 9 games left, and I can't wait for Brighton on Wednesday.
Listen, we'll get onto the red card and the Chelsea disciplinary record in just a sec. Dave, it's a scary game, football. We do love it. But, your last win over Arsenal and at the Emirates as well, 2021. That was off the back of you winning the Champions League with Thomas Tuchel. The different directions in which both clubs have gone since then, you really thought, it was still the back end of the Abramovich era then, and you really thought then Chelsea were going to kick on and start dominating again. It's gone polar opposite ways, hasn't it?
Well, of course it has, but you know why, Harry.
Yeah.
We've got new ownership with a completely different attitude. And, this is not of our own making. The government decided we had to sell the club, and this is where we are. But if there's an essential difference between the last time we beat Arsenal and now, it's quality and experience. And Marty, I'm not having his, Arteta's tactical genius getting Neto sent off. I think you need to point the finger at Neto's stupidity more than anything else. And he's supposed to be one of the more experienced players, so I don't know. We were okay yesterday. I was there, and I thought we did all right. But Arsenal's set piece defending. Our set piece defending is terrible. Their set piece attacking is brilliant, and we shot ourselves in the foot. But Marty seems to forget that when we got down to 10 men, we had at least 3 good chances to score. Obviously, Pedro was definitely offside, but we created 3 very good chances, and we should have come away with a draw. I think that would have been a fair result.
Marty, 2 set piece goals as well. It's nothing new for Arsenal. Why is it that you think clubs can't suss Arsenal out when it comes to set pieces? Because the overabundance in goals there is a bit of a joke, to be honest.
Look, I think some people downplay the level of quality that goes into these set pieces. For me, they're like almost an NFL playbook where there are 10 probably plus ways of setting up against a corner. The reason why you can't work them out is because defensively, you'll see a team set out in a certain way, and that will be adjusted due to either David Raya's positioning on the pitch or where certain players are, or the call on the touchline from Nicolas Jova. It's quite phenomenal, the intricacy that goes into them. And obviously, then secondary, when you've got players like Gabriel for that first goal where he rose to that far post. I mean, I don't know a player on this planet that could defend that guy. He's massive, and two, the way he gets his body to the ball and heads it back into a really, really dangerous area. And again, you know, for me, I think Chelsea would be a fantastic side. They are, I suppose, a David Raya, a Gabriel and a Saliba, away from being a side that would probably challenge for the Premier League. Sanchez always has a mistake in him. He comes out, he flaps at things. In the first half, I saw him on the floor outside the penalty area a few times. And you're playing out from the back. Sometimes you've just got to be like, look, this ain't working. Let's put it long or try something different. And it caused unnecessary pressure, and you're making a rod for your own back in these situations. So you're inviting pressure in set pieces. You're inviting pressure in the game, and then when it comes to set pieces, if you're not set up rigidly or you can't adjust to this, you're gonna come unstuck. And this is not the first time we've been doing this. We've been doing this for seasons as well. It's just a very, very skillful. I mean, I get people saying to me, "Oh, you can't keep on doing it. It's not sustainable." Well, we've been doing it for seasons, and people score from corners. If you actually look at it, Liverpool this year have scored 9 set pieces. So they've actually scored more than us, even though we get labelled set piece FC. So, look, it's a valid part of the game, and we're very good at it. Very good at it.
Dave, Marty said just then Chelsea are potentially a David Raya, Saliba and Gabriel away for challenging for the title. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's nice to be agreeing with him, actually. But yeah, we are. I mean, you know, Sanchez has actually been a lot better this season than he was last season. But, you know, clearly his weakness is with his feet. And with a side like Arsenal, who targeted that and pressed very, very high up and very effectively, you know, his decision-making is poor. And he was definitely, you know, I think he was culpable for the second goal, certainly, because he flapped, he didn't come out. And I think the fact that he tried to claim it was a foul was rather indicative of his embarrassment more than any reality. But yeah, you know, a decent world-class goalkeeper, and certainly, you know, leadership, I think, at the back is the essential thing. I mean, you know, if you think that we had, when you mentioned 2021 a minute ago, we had Thiago Silva in the middle of our defence. If we had somebody like him now, I don't think we'd be you know, struggling defensively in the way that we have been. I mean, on the set piece front, I have no problem with scoring set piece goals. I mean, even the fact that Arsenal try and play rugby in the penalty area when they take a corner, every side does it. You know, that's not Arsenal's fault. The referees need to sort that out. And we in fact, I think we're the second highest scorer of set piece goals in the Premier League to Arsenal. And yet we've conceded the most from set pieces. I think that tells you everything, doesn't it?
Do you think she'd have had a penalty there, Dave?
Yeah, I definitely think the Rice elbow ball should have been a penalty. And also he was hugging, I can't remember who it was now, Hato, I think. And Raya punched Pedro in the face, didn't he, later on? So I think that could have been a penalty as well.
Marty, Patrick Vieira was speaking yesterday, and he believes that if Arsenal win the title this season, they could continue to do so for years to come. Do you become more of an attractive club when you win the Premier League title? Because, you know, Arsenal are a massive club, one of the biggest clubs in England anyway, behind, I don't know, who would you say is bigger, Chelsea or Arsenal? If history would say Arsenal, behind Manchester United and Liverpool. But do you agree with your old captain there? In the sense of, if you win it this season, you could go on a couple of year stretch of winning the Premier League title.
100%. I do believe you'll be seeing a dynasty. I know I'll get called being a deluded gooner and all this stuff. It's nothing I haven't heard before. But listen, I'm old enough to have watched football for 40 odd years, and I've seen teams sometimes.
40? I thought you were like early 30s.
I like you, Harry. I like you.
That skincare routine must be whatever you're getting from duty free whenever you go abroad, mate. You need to let me know all about it.
Have you not seen them Declan Rice L'Oreal adverts? I took a leaf out of his book and got some of that on the go. So look, and sometimes a team needs just to get a trophy and get it over the line to get that momentum going. We saw it with Manchester City. Do you remember that Aguero goal when they won? And then they went on. Yeah. That was their sticking point after years of, not that we've had relegation, but they were battling League One and Championship and stuff like that. And then they came to the Premier League, the money, we know the story, and then they got that over the line. And it went from there. I do genuinely believe that this League Cup final that we've got against Manchester City coming up, that will be pivotal. We win that, then we go on to win the Premier League, because that will give us huge momentum. If we lose that, potentially, that we could end up faltering in the title race, dare I say it, because those things can be damning. And you've got to say, after that League Cup final, you can't probably really see either team losing many games. The plus point for us is Man City have got 2 tough games away to Real Madrid, and then potentially after, they've got 2 tough games away to Bayern Munich. But with Arsenal, also, if you look at the structure of the team, you've got David Raya, I believe, is 28 years old. So Gabriel's 27, or Saliba's 27, 24 respectively. You've got Declan Rice, Zubamendi, Gyökeres. They're all young enough guys around the 27 age mark, so they've got years in them. You look at our midfield, it's basically sorted for probably the next 3 seasons with Rice, Zubamendi, and that whole spine of our team. And then you can interchange players. And even if you look at Piero Hincapié, a player that we bought in this season, who was absolutely phenomenal yesterday, unfortunately scored an own goal, but I thought he was the best player on the pitch. And then, he goes to get the flick on and it's in the back of the net. For Chelsea, but a phenomenal player that's actually ousted Calafiori in our starting lineup, and he, at the beginning of the season, was absolutely outstanding in moving forward and positionally, defensively. So those are the sort of levels of players that we've got, and at the age, they're young. Chelsea have got a similar situation where they've got young players, but they haven't got that level of experience, like David correctly said at the back. We're starting to get that experience. We win a trophy, you'll gain that experience, and then I believe for the next few seasons we will kick on. And this will be, unfortunately for other fans, a time where you'll see a lot of annoying Arsenal fans, and you'll have to hear a lot of annoying rubbish from people like myself.
Dave, Chelsea have done that. If you think about close to 2025 years ago, sorry, I couldn't get my words out then. The beginning of the Abramovich era, when you went back to back, a vast majority of that squad had never won a Premier League title. Is that what Arsenal need is to get that monkey off their back, and then they push on, because Chelsea have been there. If it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think Marty's right. It's definitely about getting over the line, particularly when you haven't won it for a long time, and that will just breed a lot of confidence. And I think there are more parallels actually, with that Chelsea side, because in those days we had a squad. Basically two world-class players getting on for every position. So we had huge squad depth qualitatively, and I would say Arsenal are probably the only Premier League team that has that kind of depth in the squad. The other thing about them, of course, we used to love it playing Arsenal because we used to bully them, and Marty will remember that.
Yep.
But now Arsenal don't get bullied. They've got some real units in that side, and they're very fond of housery, which they do very, very well. And it does remind me of Chelsea in those days. So, fair play to them.
Dave, I'm going to stick with you quickly. The disciplinary record, like we already mentioned, 9 red cards this season in the Premier League for Chelsea, which is a joint record with both QPR and Sunderland. It's not where you want to be in the terms of tables. No. If I'm looking at the stats now, by a team in the Premier League season, Chelsea 25, 26, 9, Sunderland 08, 09, 9, QPR 2011, 12, 9. I guess you're going for the top 4, Dave, but you might as well create history and get at least one more red card so you can sit at the top of one table, eh?
No, quite right, Harry. Making history, not reliving it. That's Chelsea all over, isn't it? Do you know what, Harry? It's not just the red cards that are the issue. Actually, it's the amount of yellow cards we get, which is, I think, also huge this season. And the thing that annoys me most is it's the petulance. You know, we get so many cards for dissent. I mean, Neto yesterday. Neto would not have been off if he hadn't have been gobbing off at the referee, you know, shortly before that and getting a yellow card for that. Fernandez yesterday, you know, throws the ball angrily on the floor, gets a yellow card. I mean, you know, if they, you know, Maresca couldn't sort it out. Liam doesn't seem to know how to sort it out. But I tell you what, they could sort out. Stop the petulance. You know, if you stop the petulance, you won't get the yellow cards for it, and then you won't get the second yellow if you have to go and make a tackle. And incidentally, I don't think that Neto had to make that tackle yesterday. I really don't. So that was pretty needless. But for me, it's the petulance that's the major issue, because, you know, anybody can get sent off. You know, you mistime a tackle these days in the modern game, you're not going to get away with it. But petulance is inexcusable.
We're going to finish off with this. I'm going to ask both of you.
Yep.
With, 9 games to go in the Premier League season, before the World Cup, before the summer, do you think, really, honestly, that you are going to win the Premier League title?
Yeah, I do. I genuinely do. Listen, Harry, I said this at the beginning of the season. I've said it throughout. Like David said, right, makes a really good point. This Arsenal team, we've got 2 players in every single position. You talk about Brighton on Wednesday night. What we have is an ability. If you want to take out either potentially Declan Rice or Zubamendi, we've got Norgard who can fill in. You want to take out Jurriën Timber or William Saliba, we can put Mosquera in there. You know, you want to take out Hincapie, we can put Calafiori in there, or likewise with Gabriel. It's not ideal, but we can do it. Up front, Victor Gyökeres, we can replace him with Kai Havertz or Gabriel Jesus. And Trossard and Martinelli are interchangeable on the left-hand side. Madueke and Saka on the right-hand side. It's this, you know, you've got Eze and Odegaard fighting for this number 10 position. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there is no easy game in the Premier League. Brighton ain't going to be any mugs. They're not going to be a rollover on Wednesday night. I'd be very surprised if we go there and push them over 4-0 or something like that. It can happen, yes, but I think maybe to our favour, they're kind of slightly in no man's land in the Premier League, so they haven't got a title to fight for like we have, and they're not in a relegation battle. Sometimes these relegation battle teams can be harder to face, but the quality we have should be far too much for Brighton to get the job done. And this is also, I'll refer to a point at the beginning of the season when Arsenal fans were talking about our fixture list. We had, you know, Manchester United at Old Trafford. We had, you know, Man City. We've still got to play them at the Etihad. We had Liverpool away at Anfield, and we've already played. And we had Manchester United at home, Newcastle away. All of these big games away from home. I think we've only got to leave London by the end of the season. I think we've only got to leave London for 1 away game or maybe 2 in the Premier League. And you look at our Champions League run-in. Look, it is favourable. Bayer Leverkusen and potentially Bodo Glimt. But don't forget, these are both sides that beat Manchester City. Manchester City fans turn around and say it's some sort of fix. Well, these are the 2 clubs that beat you in the Champions League. So, you know, they need to kind of be careful with that. And you can't, again, in the Champions League, just because we've done so well. I think what it is, it's the intensity of those games. What I know is, like I said, City with Real Madrid, they're going to be in for a tough game. Real Madrid ain't just going to, they are going to fight and they are going to battle for it, and they're going to make it very hard. We all know what they're about. So, yes, in short, after failing at this attempt 3 times, this season for me feels very different. Results like yesterday, I believe last season or maybe the season before, we draw that game or potentially lose it. Like David said, at the end they pushed us and we would have folded like a pack of cards. But yesterday we were solid, we were resolute. And, you know, a player like David Raya steps up and gets us out of trouble.
Dave, to finish us off, mate, do you think this is actually going to happen then?
I mean, it looks like it, much as it pains me to say it. I mean, they're 5 points ahead of City. I think it'll depend on 2 things. I think if they lose the League Cup final to City and they lose the match against City, then I think that could create a wobble. So basically, as long as they don't lose to City really in the league, I think they're home and hosed, aren't they? The other thing that might derail it, the one player I think you can not do without is Declan Rice. And he kind of limped off yesterday. So I think getting an injury to Rice would be, I would be concerned if I was an Arsenal fan if he was to be out for a little bit of time. Norgard notwithstanding, but he is no Declan Rice, and I think he's so fundamental to the way Arsenal play. I think that would be a loss. But bottom line is, they look like they look like they should get it, really. As long, I'll tell you what, if Arsenal win the title, I'll accept it if we can relegate Spurs on the penultimate day.
That's what I'm talking about, David. That's the one.
This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today.